Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. I'm outside today doing this video because I want to be outdoors in the sun, and it's really nice out today, and the temperature is just right. It's not hot, you know, it's nice and cool actually. We got a nice breeze, and so I guess you probably guessed already why I'm doing this video. Today is a big day for politics because our president announced that he's not going to run for a second term. He's dropping out. And he's endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, to step in and campaign for the presidency. Shocked? Yes, I was shocked, but you know, at the same time, you know, because it happened so quickly, but not really surprised. Not really surprised, because, you know, like I said, you know, when the money pulls out of the campaign, that's when people get scared. And thanks to George Clooney and that letter he wrote to the New York Times, the donors got scared. Because Clooney's a big donor to the DNC. And when he said that, you know, he didn't think Biden could do it, that was all the others needed to hear. And so, one by one, these donors started dropping out, okay? And so I think that, you know, this was coming. Most people expected that Biden would drop out. But everybody said that today. I mean, it kind of hit them blindsided because they didn't think it would happen so fast. But you know, we've only got like a little over 100 days here before the election, and we just don't have the time to do something like this slowly, you know. And so this decision had to be made quickly. Now, the other side, they're relishing this because they're going to challenge the constitutionality of this switch here on the ticket. With everything they got. So that means, you know, should Harris win the presidency, she's going to be facing legal challenge after legal challenge after legal challenge over her being president, okay? And being how the courts are on Trump's side, the whole idea of her being able to stay president is in question if she wins. Because the Republicans have, you know, they got on the Supreme Court, they got 6 people on the Supreme Court. They got the majority on the court, and they, you know, they're going to side with him if the argument reaches to that level, okay? And that's the part that I, you know, was saying, you know, that I was afraid of, is that Trump would be put in as president because of the courts, just like what happened in 2000 with Gore and Bush, and even though they said back then that they would never, that the Supreme Court should never decide the fate of the country's presidency ever again, it's going to happen, I think. I think this is the way it's going to play out. I think next year, if Harris wins, there's going to be all kinds of legal maneuvering. I mean, the Democrats are saying they got no ground to stand on because technically Biden is not the nominee. He doesn't become the nominee until the convention. Okay, so their challenge at this time against what's been done would be groundless, because, like I said, they could only challenge that on some merit after the convention if Biden decided he didn't want to be the nominee anymore and dropped out. So officially, he wasn't the nominee to begin with. Okay, but like I said, it's a legal gray area, as AOC had put it in the last video I put out. She saw this coming, and seeing how this is going to give Republicans so much ammo to challenge a Kamala presidency. I don't think that the dust is going to settle easy at the outcome of this thing. But this is definitely going to cause chaos here as far as the voters are concerned, because a lot of people really have a lot of respect for Biden and what he's accomplished, okay, as president so far, in 4 years. I mean, I think, a lot of people trusted him, to continue to do what he was doing. Now, granted, Kamala Harris deserves some of that credit too, because she was in that administration with him, just like everybody else that worked with Biden, okay? And there's no reason to think that Kamala wouldn't continue what Biden started, okay? So voting for her wouldn't be a mistake, okay, if you're interested in seeing the country prosper. I think she would continue, because she knows what worked and what the consensus out there is of how they feel about what his accomplishments were. And I don't think she wants to undo or derail any of that, okay? I really think she'll try to continue on with what Biden's momentum, basically, okay? She'd want to continue with that. The problem that I have, it's not really easy to talk about because I don't share it. But the fact that she's a woman, okay, and considered, black, she's really, there's racism in the Democrat Party too, okay, because some of the people who wanted for Biden to step down didn't think that Kamala Harris would be the one to go with after him. But like AOC said, it would be too late for someone to challenge Kamala right now, 80 days outside, of an election, because they wouldn't have enough time to get a national, donor base or something like that. Some outsider would be coming into this thing raw, and really they just wouldn't have, the money, the money base to be able to really give Kamala a run for her money to push that. It would be too late for them. They'd have had to have been starting this like last year if they were going to run against Biden or the administration itself. They'd have had to have been going at this since then. RFK, forget it. He's not gonna. He's got no chance. All right. There's just a very small sliver of the public out there that thinks RFK would be a good third choice, but I'm sorry, but he's just not it. He's more Republican than he is Democrat. But for the Democrats, they're going to. They had better coalesce around Kamala if they want her to win. If the Democrats want to win, they're going to have to unify the party around her. Okay, they're in this now, and they're going to have to do everything they can. And who she picks for a running mate is going to be important too. So there's names being thrown around out there. In my opinion, I think she should probably pick a guy to be a vice president running mate, just to kind of, in the view of the public, to kind of balance the ticket. I mean, if it's another woman, it's just going to make it even harder for her to win. because we got misogynism in this country, you know, and it comes from both sides, not just the Republicans, you know. We've got some that are in the Democrat Party too. And believe me, Trump's going to play that fucking card. He ain't got no bones about it. So let me read this here article from Yahoo, published well, about 10 minutes ago. Biden drops out of the 2024 presidential race. Kamala Harris vows to earn and win the nomination. Biden announced Sunday that he was pulling out following weeks-long pressure campaign from fellow Democrats that began in earnest following his much-criticized debate performance in late June. Quote, "I believe it is the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down," unquote, Biden said in a statement posted to X. He added that he plans to address the nation later this week, but made clear that he intends to finish out the last 3 months of his term in office. In a separate post following the announcement, Biden wrote that he is endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris, to be the Democratic nominee for president. Quote, "Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump," unquote, he wrote. Quote, "Let's do this," unquote. Biden's exit from the presidential race comes less than a month before the Democrats are scheduled to hold their nominating convention in Chicago starting on August the 19th. It also raises questions about who will replace him at the top of the ticket now that person will be picked and whether that person has a better shot at defeating former President Donald Trump than the 81-year-old current president. And then there's let's see, Kamala had responded. Vice President Kamala Harris acknowledged President Joe Biden's extraordinary leadership in a new statement, calling his choice to step down from the presidential race a, quote, "selfless and patriotic act," unquote. Harris also sent a clear message to voters following her presidential endorsement from Biden and other Democrat leaders. Quote, "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination," unquote, she added. Quote, "Over the past year, I have traveled across the country talking with Americans about the clear choice in this momentous election, and that is what I will continue to do in the days and weeks ahead. I will do everything in my power to unite the party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump and his extreme Project 2025 agenda." And she concluded, quote, "We have 107 days until Election Day. Together we will fight, and together we will win," unquote. Governor Shapiro praised Biden, but he doesn't say if he will endorse Harris or not. Obama praises Biden, but does not endorse a new candidate. And this guy from posted on X, David Knowles, quote, "This will be the first time in 56 years that a major party will nominate a presidential candidate who didn't enter any primaries," unquote. Whether they supported him dropping out of the 2024 race or wanted him to stay, Democrats united on Sunday in praise of President Biden. Nancy Pelosi said on Friday that she favored an open competition for picking the Democratic nominee should Biden drop out of the race. Again, there's not enough time for some challenger to come in out of the blue to go after if Kamala becomes picked. I mean, it has to be Kamala. She's got to be the one to get the nomination. If she doesn't get it, then that's it. We're lost. I mean, more than, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because there's not enough time for a new face to show up to garner the votes. I mean, people say, you know, vote blue, you know, all the way down. Well, that's good on paper, but in reality, people won't think that way. they're gonna vote on who they think is more credible to be sitting in the White House, not because they have a D next to their name. I mean, Republicans do that, but not Democrats. Democrats will never vote because they got a Democrat. Okay, and that's the whole point of why I was saying Biden needed to stay in this race, is because he's already got the momentum behind him. He's already got the record behind him. Okay, and people know him. He's been in there long enough. They know what he is. They know what he's like. And and the Democrats trust him. But to throw this up in the air again and see where the chips fall, if it doesn't land on Kamala, excuse me, if it doesn't land on Kamala and on somebody that, just out of the clear blue as it will look to us, the viewer, that's going to diminish confidence in the party and people's ability to think we can win. And a lot of people just ain't going to vote. That's what Democrats do. If they figure their vote ain't going to matter, they're just not going to vote. They're not going to vote out of loyalty. And that's how Republicans will win, because they will stay united no matter who is on the fucking ticket. Okay. Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio said, I thank President Biden for his years of committed service to the country we love. Senator Sanders said, quote, Joe Biden has served our country with honor and dignity. As the first president to ever walk on a picket line with striking workers, he has been the most pro-working class president in modern American history. Thank you, Mr. President, for all you've done. Of course, they're all going to come out and say something nice now that they figure he's not going to run now, which I think they probably knew. They probably figured this was going to happen. Not today, even though the announcement sort of hit everybody at the last second. I think they knew before the weekend what they were going to do, and I hope that they didn't pressure Biden by some nefarious way to get him to step down. I hope that that the decision that he made to bow out of the race was basically his of his own accord, because I'd hate to think that because the money pulled out of this race for him, that they kind of blackmailed him into doing it. I really hope that wasn't the case. I mean, I know with money involved, anything's possible. But, I mean, it had to be obvious to the Democrat Party that if the money wasn't there, they weren't going to win. Okay? And even though Biden is out, according, what he said, that doesn't guarantee the money's going to come back and back Harris. I mean, if they want somebody else, they still won't come back. And that's why I'm saying this is the reason why we have to get money out of politics, is because they're taking the right of us voters out of our hands to choose our own futures. Okay? The money is out there deciding who's going to win and who's going to lose. And we are running the most expensive campaigns for government seats in this country's history. And that is ridiculous. And Bernie Sanders has said that all along, that the money has got to get out of politics. We have to do something about that. Okay? And and it's not bad enough that we're getting money flooding our political infrastructure, but we're also getting foreign money under the table, if you will, coming into this country, influencing our government. Okay, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but that to me is not right. I mean, I don't think that's right, because when you think about how our system is run, it was created under a grassroots movement. And now it ain't so grassroots anymore, because everybody's got to have money now to beat the other side. Because they're going to be swamped with money, okay? And if you can't put out the matching equivalency of what they can put out, then you're fucked. Really, you're screwed. And and it's because of It's because of money that I think this is happening. The money is dictating the course of this election here. And I hope people see that. I hope people are remember this as we move forward in this country, about how money really shaped the course of this election here. And they kind of took it out of the control of us voters, because us voters wanted to see Biden continue to run. But because of money, okay, he was pressured out. He was pressured out of his own goddamn job, because they think they know better than the rest of us voters who should be president, okay? And that's why, you know, it doesn't really matter which party we're talking about, because both of them are in the same conundrum here. And unfortunately, it seems okay for the Republicans to have all that big money flowing into their system, because, hey, you know, their party is all about greed anyway, right? Because that's who they defend, is the big donors. But on the Democrat side, we like to pretend that our party doesn't have to rely on big money donors, but it does. It really does. And I guess at this point in American history, it would be a fantasy to think we could go back to the way things used to be. But we really got to try and do something to change it, or to at least minimize it in some way, so that way we get more of the power back in our hands as citizens. You know, let's go to commercial break.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Our border is a mess.
A lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay. Please blame it on me. Please.
Donald Trump is telling his allies not to vote for it so he can run on it in November. That, to me, is dereliction of duty. Biden is ready to sign something if Congress will send it to him.
He never talks about securing the border unless he's saying stop it because I don't want it to happen until the election.
But as an election year issue, keeping the chaos at the border as it is benefits him.
Told me flat out
If you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you.
I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering by many on the right.
It's honestly partisan politics on display in the stupidest way. It's embarrassing for Republicans.
The fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling.
He'd rather weaponize this issue than actually solve it.
In the dark, don't know what it's leading off the heart, and I saw history repeating. What's my heart? It's nothing that I wouldn't do. Now I'm up against the wall.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
There's this article here from the Miami Herald. It's an op-ed piece. Get out of here, fly. Okay, it's written by Dion Leffler, and the title is "With Biden Out, Michelle Obama Would Be Donald Trump's Worst Self-Inflicted Nightmare." If there's one thing you can generally count on with Republicans, it's political efficiency. This time they may have been too efficient. The news that Joe Biden is dropping his campaign to be re-elected president is about the worst thing that could have happened for Donald Trump. Let's face it, this race has always been a contest between age-related forgetfulness and age-related anger and aggression. Now, instead of running against a man who appears too old to keep his thoughts together, Trump will have to face off against a younger and more vital opponent at exactly the time the American people have said in a loud, clear voice that they're tired of the same old men and the same old rhetoric. Trump and his party brought this on themselves. They turned their remarkably efficient attack machine on too early. The debate last month pretty conclusively showed that Biden isn't up to what Americans expect from their president anymore. It's not his fault. Biden has been a man of great accomplishments in the Senate, as vice president, and as president over a long and productive career. But age catches up to everyone. 4 years ago, Biden was the bulwark against the continuation of Trumpism. That's what Democrats want and what the country needs again in 2024. The way for Republicans to ensure their victory would have been to go along with the Democrat-created illusion of quote-unquote Joe's fine until after the Democrats held their convention, and it was too late to turn back and pick someone else. In the first debate, Trump should have tried to channel Ronald Reagan, politely smiling, and answering the questions that were put to him, he should have waited for the second debate to pounce on Biden's infirmity. It's the difference between tactics and strategy. Now, no matter whom the Democrats choose to run against Trump, he'll have a much harder case to make for himself. He's going to have to defend a Republican Party that, as we saw at their convention, basically supports restoration of the Soviet Union and seems terrified of fruit pickers and hotel maids at the border. To keep his vital right-wing evangelical base, Trump's going to have to embrace their demands to ban abortion by any means necessary, which Americans in states blue and red, even Kansas, have voted repeatedly not to do, against a more agile opponent. He won't get away with claiming Democrats support abortion up to the moment of birth, or after, as he did against Biden in their debate. And to keep his billionaire mega donors, he'll have to defend the Heritage Foundation's god-awful Project 2025, a blueprint for dismantling just about everything in the United States that makes it a decent place to live. So, now let's see if the Democrats can be more strategic than Republicans, which admittedly they seldom are. While they have several candidates who could potentially beat Trump, the Democrats have only one sure thing: Michelle Obama. Polls show that other possible contenders, including Vice President Kamala Harris, who Biden endorsed shortly after announcing that he was stepping down, runs slightly behind Trump. They'd start out playing catch-up. In those same polls, Michelle Obama crushes Trump by 11 points. Since her husband left the White House, she's been the good soldier supporting others for the top job, while otherwise saying she's not interested in it herself. But she's also said she's quote-unquote terrified at the potential outcome of the November election. While she might not actively campaign for the nomination, I think she'd find it pretty hard to turn it down if delegates at the Democratic National Convention were to draft her next month. Dawn Stanley, women's basketball legend, head coach at the University of South Carolina, and a four-time Olympic gold medalist, 3 as a player, 1 as a coach, called the right play in a recent appeal to former President Barack Obama on X. Quote, "Now please, let us borrow Michelle Obama for just 4 short years. First gentleman is a good look for you." Unquote. Nobody knows better than Staley that when you're down by a couple of points late in the fourth quarter, you want to get the ball in the hands of your best player to take the final shot. The Democrat Party would do well to listen to her. So I guess what they're saying, without really saying it, is they'd like to see her run next to Kamala on the ticket. How do I feel about that? Well, I think I already said in the previous segment that because this country has got so much misogyny still in its craw, all right, they'll look at a double female ticket as a losing ticket. Okay, those that are like me that will still vote blue no matter what, but won't be able to do that themselves. Okay. They'll just say, "Oh, it'll look weak in their eyes because they don't see women as viable in any damn job you put them in." You know what I'm saying? So even though Michelle and Kamala would be able to corner Trump easy, which really isn't that hard to do because you fight a guy like that with the truth. That's how you corner a MAGA or Trump, is to fight him with the truth. They can't argue the truth. Okay, when they try to argue against the truth, their arguments sound so stupid and everything. Okay, so it would be easy to make Trump look stupid, but MAGA's still going to stay united behind him no matter what. We know this. Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get as many Democrats to vote blue as we can. All right, that's what we're trying to do here. And the last thing we need is a diminished voting potential come this November. And having Kamala, on there is fine. But I think they should find a guy to run along with her. Okay, at least, you know, it would probably lessen the impact of the misogynist reaction. You know, and it would look more balanced that way in their eyes. Okay, it's sad that I gotta say this, and you know, and try to say let's cater to the misogynists in this country, because really, if they're misogynists, they shouldn't even be part of the goddamn Democrat Party in the first place. I think they ought to haul their ass out and go join the Reds. Okay, but the fact is that we need every Democrat voter this election now. We really do. We did when Biden was in the, okay, and we're definitely going to need it when with Kamala now in there. I have no doubt she could out debate Trump. Okay, I have no doubt she could put Trump in his corner really easy early on in the debate. Okay, because Trump's an idiot, and she can really bring the idiocy out of him, and so I think that if the Democrats stay united on a blue ticket, really no matter who's the one running here, I mean, I think if they do that, you know, we could win. We could win. Okay, but it really means that we have to. We have to put aside our prejudices and our misogynism and all that stuff for the sake of the United States. We can't just think about ourselves. We have to think about our future too. Okay? Republicans, it's all about immediate pleasures right off the bat, okay? Satisfying the moment. But with Democrats, we're always trying to reach for the future. We're always trying to do things better for the next generation. We can't do that under a Republican presidency, okay? We certainly are having a hard time doing it with Republicans controlling the House, okay, and the fucking courts. I mean, so can you imagine, you know, if all of it was under their control? I mean, forget looking forward. We'd be revisiting the past. And for many of us out there, the past really, we were trying to get away from it for many generations. We don't want to go back to those fucking days. That Project 2025 lays out all kinds of nasty shit that they're going to do. All right, that's their manifesto. It's like Hitler's Mein Kampf. I mean, that's basically what that is. And for people who think that I'm overreacting here, you ain't read that fucking thing. All 190 pages of it is sitting at the Heritage Foundation, in case you want to read it. If you don't want to read it, then shut up, okay? Because you don't know what you're talking about. But if you go over there and you read it, and you go down the fucking list of things as they plan it, and, you know, they try to make it sound like it's all just and honorable things, right? But use your brain. Put your bullshit filter on and see what it is that they're doing and where these ideas are coming from. Christian nationalism. That's what this is all about. That's what this is about. You know, trying to turn this nation into a Christians-only nation. Okay? They want everybody else out. You know, all the other religions that they say are fake, they want them the hell out of this country. Okay? And if you give them that fucking label, if you give them the ability to call this country a Christian Christian nation, that's essentially putting the key in the lock to unlock the door so they can take it a step further by getting rid of or banning other religions in this country. Then what are you going to have as far as freedom goes? All right. So, like I said, there's a lot in that Project 2025. And there's a reason why Democrats are rallying against it, why they're speaking out against it, because they've read it, they know what's in it. Heritage Foundation unzipped their fly by putting it out there for the whole public to see. Okay, which they shouldn't have done, but they did anyway. But now that it's out there and people have read it, okay, they see now why it's important to equate Trump as this country's Hitler, the way J.D. Vance had once called him not that long ago, okay? J.D. Vance called him America's Hitler, and that for damn good reason, because he is. He's doing the same damn thing that Hitler was doing. Oh, the Germans for Germany, and everybody else out. Even when he himself wasn't even a German. He wasn't even born there. He was born in Austria, this son of a bitch. Okay? But the fact is that he's playing the race card, just like Trump's playing it. Okay? The religious card, I guess. Whatever. And, once they get the religious card played and they get it their way, the next thing will be race. All blacks exported out of America, all Latinos exported out of America, round them up, put them in camps. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like 1938 all over again. Okay, only this time it's going to happen here. And what country is going to come to our rescue to get rid of it? When you're talking about the most powerful military in the world, what country is going to want us to come and save our ass? It's going to be up to us as the American citizens to get rid of that regime, So, like I said, it's really, this is the most pivotal area of American history right now. This year, 2024, most important election in my lifetime, anyway, that we could possibly see. And so much rides on what's going to shape this country in the next generation by what we do today. Because if we make the wrong choice today, the next generation that lives under our mistake is going to have it so much harder to undo that. So much harder to undo it. So I hope the young people that can vote do vote and vote smartly. And also think about that future too, because we need them too. We need them voters. I think that this is really, an election that crosses generations here. Of course, every election does, but I think this one is more defined as where we all need to come together, old, young. Okay, we all need to come together for, a single cause, and that's to stop fascism in its tracks before it becomes, our new way of life. We don't need that. Okay, yeah, democracy can be messy and not always satisfactory, but under that democracy we still have rights, and we can still speak, and we can still determine our futures. Under the alternative, self-determination becomes a problem for a fascist establishment. If you're not part of the team, as you would say it, or part of the group, then you're part of the problem under a fascist regime. That goes on all the time in Russia. They expect everybody to follow the leader without question. And look what kind of hideous things have been going on over there under Putin. And I'm sure they won't say it publicly, but privately, they probably wish Putin would leave and somebody else would come in and take his place. Or at least, make some chance. Because they had prosperous times over there. The last, before this war in Ukraine, the Russian people were doing pretty well. We had a lot of American things going on over there. The people were working. The young people were happier. Okay. They had malls and all kinds. They started to look Americanized over there. And I think that's what Putin hated. But the people were happy. So, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't care if the people were happy. He only cared if he was happy. And he wasn't happy seeing the Russian people living like Americans. So, he undid all that. All that prosperity, he undid it all. And so, when the Ukraine war started, it happened so quickly that country turned inside out, and now everything that was, pleasing to the people over there, it's all gone now. That's why a lot of Russians have left Russia, because, they felt like their whole life was taken away from them, practically overnight. You know, the sanctions made it happen overnight when the rest of the world pulled out everything that was there, like McDonald's and all these other stores, yanked all their merchandise out of that country. You know, when they did that, it was an automatic. You know, everything was shutting down. People lost their jobs. You know, they lost their futures. No. And that's what we would be looking at here. If Project 2025 started, we'd be seeing it not as quickly as it did over there, but we would see things being more difficult for younger generations to make a life in this country, to have families, to be able to, you know, have things. You know, and I can't imagine, you know, this country wanting to take that step back because they want to vote for a convicted felon, you know, a rapist. You know, does party loyalty mean everything to them and the American dream means nothing? You know, because that's kind of what they're saying. All right, so let's call it a day here on this video, and I will talk to you again at another time. So please subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for any health-related matters. And treat each other nice, okay? At the end of the day, I mean, with politics aside, I think people need to feel like we can still come together without fighting. And we need to remind ourselves that life isn't all about politics, it's also about living. So let's do that. And I'll talk to you guys later. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.